Winter. Some call it the most beautiful season of the year, the silence of the white snow, the abundance of holidays, and the warmth by the fire. But behind this quietude, the ruthless cold hides its most terrifying secrets: frozen forests, blizzard-stricken mountains, and dark, remote places. They harbor not only the living, but also our deepest, most disturbing fears. Today, we are taking you on a journey through 3 such real, mind-numbing winter horror stories. These are not just tales. These are true accounts that reveal how merciless the cold can be and how fragile the human mind is when pushed to its limits. Prepare to shiver, because these stories will disturb you long after the video ends. In January of 1959, when 9 experienced ski hikers from the Ural Polytechnic Institute set off, no one could have imagined the horrific fate that awaited them. Led by Igor Dyatlov, these young adventurers embarked on an expedition to Otorten Mountain in the northern Urals. They were seasoned, well-equipped, and prepared for the brutal winter weather. But days after their scheduled check-in, the group failed to report back. Search teams were dispatched. Finally, weeks later, on February 26th, the group's tent was discovered on the slopes of Kolod Siakal, meaning Dead Mountain. The tent had been abandoned in a bizarre manner, slashed open from the inside. It appeared the group had panicked and frantically fled into the sub-zero cold, leaving behind their shoes and warm clothing. Following the tracks, 2 of the group members' bodies were found half a mile away under a large cedar tree, barefoot. They had tried to build a small fire but succumbed to the cold. Later, 3 more bodies were found, including Dyatlov and Zenaida Kolmogorova, seemingly trying to make their way back to the tent. But over the next 2 months, the remaining 4 bodies were discovered, and their condition was even more disturbing than the first. One victim had a fractured skull, another had crushed ribs, and a woman named Ludmila Dubinina was missing her tongue, eyes, and parts of her facial bone structure. High levels of radiation were later found on some of their clothing, and some of the bodies displayed a strange, orange discoloration. The official conclusion stated that their deaths were caused by an unknown compelling force. But what was this force? An avalanche, secret military testing, or something else entirely? A terrifying entity they encountered in the dark of the night? These unanswered questions continued to whisper in the winter wind, cementing the Dyatlov Pass Incident as one of history's most unsettling cold weather mysteries. The frozen plains of North America, especially in the early 20th century, were a symbol of endless isolation. In a remote Minnesota farmhouse, one family endured the hardships of deep winter. The cruel weather often cut them off completely from the outside world. One season, the farmer's wife fell ill with a strange disease. After much suffering, she passed away in the home. Due to the severe blizzard conditions and blocked roads, transporting her to the city cemetery was impossible. In his solitude and desperation, the farmer was forced to temporarily bury his wife's body in a shallow grave near the house, intending to rebury her properly once the snow melted. But this simple, agonizing choice unleashed a chain of events that would forever shatter his life and his sanity. As the blizzard subsided and the snow began to thaw, the farmer started hearing strange, agonizing screams emanating from the area where his wife was buried. At first, he dismissed it as the howl of the wind or the cry of a wild animal, but the sound grew clearer, more distinct. It was his wife's voice, a pained, desperate cry for help. Terrified, the farmer became convinced that his wife's spirit was haunting him, angry at the improper burial. He became sleep-deprived, his eyes sinking, his face pale. The screams persisted every night, and the farmer's mental state deteriorated rapidly. He was sure his wife was coming for him. Eventually, unable to bear the terror, the farmer took his own life with his rifle. Weeks later, when the snow had fully melted and spring arrived, neighbors came to check on him. They found his deceased body and then examined his wife's temporary grave. As the frozen ground gave way, the horrifying truth emerged. The heavy snow and thaw had caused a large, broken tree branch to fall and press down on the corpse's chest. This pressure, combined with the thawing process, forced air out of the deceased woman's lungs, creating noises that eerily resembled agonizing screams. The ghost that drove the farmer mad into his death was merely a cruel, chilling trick of the unforgiving winter. But by the time the truth was discovered, the farmer's soul had already been irrevocably broken. The vast frozen lakes of northern Canada hold a unique and desolate beauty, but that beauty often conceals deep secrets beneath the ice. In the mid-1980s, two friends ventured to a remote, frozen lake near the Arctic Circle for a weekend of ice fishing. The lake was known for its rare, large fish, but accessing it required enduring the extreme cold and isolation. They had been coming here for years, always pulling in a decent catch. As they drilled through the thick ice and started to fish, one of them noticed a strange, large object moving slowly beneath the water. At first, they thought it was an unusually large fish, as the lake was known for its giants. But as the object began to approach their fishing hole, they realized its movement was wrong for a fish. It was slow, deliberate, and oddly uniform. With curiosity mixed with mounting apprehension, they decided to try and pull it up. It was incredibly heavy, requiring both of them to use all their strength. Finally, they managed to partly pull the entity out of the ice. Their eyes widened in horror. It was not a fish. It was the body of a man who had drowned years before in that very lake. But the winter's freezing effect had preserved him in a bizarrely pristine condition. The ice had trapped his face in a gruesome expression, his eyes wide open, staring up at them, frozen in an eternal, silent scream. The state of the corpse was so perfect that it looked like he had drowned only minutes ago, yet they recalled the old local story of a man who had vanished there years back. The most disturbing aspect was that, due to the clarity of the ice, the man's body looked as if it were moving beneath the surface, staring at them from his watery tomb. It seemed to beckon them into the cold, deep abyss. The image was forever seared into their minds, permanently distorting their view of winter beauty. The frozen lake had not only preserved the man, but had also frozen time itself, keeping death on a horrifying eternal display. While the winter months are known for their beauty and quietude, they can also show humanity their most ruthless and mysterious face. The tragedy of the Dyatlov Pass, the farmer's undoing in Minnesota, and the horrifying secret of the frozen lake. They all remind us that the cold amplifies not only the external chill, but also our internal fears, pushing us to our very limits. If you have any real, disturbing winter stories of your own, share them in the comments below. The next time the cold wind howls, remember, some secrets may remain forever frozen beneath the ice. And some things, once found, you might wish you had never seen. Stay safe, and let's hope the voice you hear behind you on a lonely, snowy trail is just the wind.